Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a 1 in the live chat, and then we can get today's stream started. While I'm waiting for the ones to come in, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure that you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends, and inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And lastly, if you haven't already, please follow me on Telegram and follow me on Rumble at TD Media Group. That is extremely important. Both my Telegram and Rumble links are in the description box below. Follow me on Telegram and Rumble. And shout out to Quantum Mania. And shout out to the banging in the back right when I hit the camera on to go live. Quantum Media said, wow, an early live stream? Yes, an early live stream. Let me explain something to you guys, man. I'm in LA. It's about to be another one of these 102-degree days. It's hot in this office. I don't know where my preacher rag is. I do have this napkin in my hand. My drink is already warm. We need to hurry up and get through this stream. Okay, because it is way too hot for me to be on camera right now trying to talk about Tren de Aragua in Aurora. Okay.
See, everything else. I don't care about none of that. I ain't got time to Terry.
I ain't got time to tarry. It's too hot to tarry. We just got to get into this information so I get off the stream. Okay, so let's get into the information, man, because I ain't got time to tarry. It's way too hot out here for all that. But for those of you who don't know, I've been covering this story. A lot of people have been covering the story concerning the Tren de Aragua gang in Aurora, Colorado, that took over a couple of apartment complexes over there. 4 of the members were arrested in connection to a shooting, but out of the 4, 2 were recently released from custody on bail. 2 were released on bail, and we're going to get into that right now. Let's get into it right now. I'm going to jump into this article. All the links, as usual, or at least I try to make sure to do this usually, but right now, all the links to the articles that I'm going to read are in the description box below. So if you want to read this stuff for yourself, minus my commentary, I would strongly advise you to do that. But let's jump into this information here, because this is completely ridiculous. 2 suspected Tren de Aragua gang members busted in connection with an attempted murder in the migrant hotbed of Aurora, Colorado, have been released from custody, the Post has learned. Venezuelan brothers Dixon Perez, 20, and Nixon Perez, 19, who are charged with trying to tamper with evidence in the July 28 shooting, were sprung after posting $1,000 bond. Okay, only $1,000 bond, and they were set free. But here's the part that irritates me the most. Here's what irritates me the most. They were released on $1,000 bond, and despite immigration and custom enforcement issuing a detainer for their arrest, sources said. For those of you who don't know what an ICE detainer is, I'll explain it to you very quickly. An ICE detainer is simply this in a nutshell. ICE is aware, or has been made informed of, that the local PD has these illegal immigrants in custody. ICE then issues a detainer, which in a nutshell says, hold on to these guys. We're coming to get them. We want them. Hold on to them. And what happens is ICE is supposed to be able to just go pick them up because the PD is holding them. But instead, Aurora PD decided to ignore the detainer and release them. So ICE is saying, hold on, we're coming. Aurora PD said, yeah, we don't care about none of that, and released them anyways. This is typically how business is done in sanctuary cities. Aurora is not a sanctuary city, but it looks like they're in a state right now where they're undecided on what it is they want to do and what they want to be, politically speaking, if I'm being honest. Aurora, Colorado seems to be a very confused city, and we're going to get into a little bit more of that as we come closer to the end of this stream. But yeah, they just let him go, despite the fact that I said, hey, hold on to them. And also, let's go back to the top right here. ICE does currently have custody of these two individuals here, the first two sets of brothers that are right here. They have custody of them. But once again, when it comes to these two guys right here, Aurora PD said, no, we're going to let them post bail for $1,000 and they can go free. And ICE, hey, catch them if you can, right? So now let's get back into the article here. The pair are being monitored with GPS technology and are located near an apartment complex in Denver, sources said. Why is that important? These guys reside in Aurora. They commit all their crime in Aurora. They're part of the Tren de Aragua gang in Aurora, but they are now residing in Denver. Why? Because Denver is operating as a sanctuary city. Now, one thing that people need to know and understand, I think I have this in front of me right now, despite its welcoming reputation, the Denver Post reports that Denver has never formally adopted the title of sanctuary city. Regardless, city officials maintain their commitment to welcoming, supporting, and protecting immigrants. Technically, Denver, Colorado is not a sanctuary city, but Denver operates as a sanctuary city, right? That's why those two fled to Denver once they were released from Aurora. Because like I said, Aurora, Colorado is confused. They don't know if they're Democrat or Republican. They don't know if they're conservative or liberal progressives. They've gone through 5 police chiefs in 2 years. It's a very confused city. So I guess they don't know whether or not the police are going to cooperate with ICE or not. One day Aurora PD cooperates with ICE. The next day they don't, because once again, this is a completely confused city. But once again, as a means to protect themselves, we'll say, these two fled to Denver because they know for sure Denver PD is not going to cooperate with ICE at all whatsoever. And as long as they are in Denver, they are protected. The article continues to read, Aurora Police Department confirmed to the Post that the two are no longer in custody. They fled to Denver, where they will be protected by, I believe his name is Michael Johnston, the mayor of Denver. Let's carry on. And this is very interesting and important to point out as well, what I'm getting ready to read next. Homeland Security sources told the Post that the brothers entered the U.S. on August 22nd, 2023, at a port of entry in Eagle Pass, Texas, using the CPB-1 app, even though they lacked proper documents to be allowed in. Instead, they claimed to be seeking asylum and were ushered through, sources said. The CBP-1 app, for those of you who don't know, in a nutshell, is essentially supposed to be the new legal way of coming in under the Biden administration, right? As opposed to just hopping over barbed wired fence and, hopping over, walls and whatnot, digging tunnels and coming into the country illegally. What you would do is that once you get to the Mexican border, you pull out your cell phone as an illegal immigrant, right? You pull your cell phone out, download the CBP-1 app, and you would apply for asylum seeker status on the CBP-1 app. And then you just kind of wait your turn in line to come in, right? But as you can see, these two gang members, Tren de Aragua gang members, they use that same CBP-1 app to get in, regardless of not having the proper paperwork to properly apply for being an asylum seeker on the app. And we're going to get into some more of that information concerning this right now. So let me scroll down just a little bit, and then we're going to come back up in a moment. But as far as that's concerned, the Biden administration began using the CBP-1 app for asylum seekers in January of 2023 in anticipation of the end of the Trump era order known as Title 42. Migrants then began using the app to book entry appointments while in Mexico, with the intention that they wouldn't be exploited by cartels or expose themselves to danger by coming illegally. However, sources say no extra vetting is involved. There is no extra vetting involved. So just because you're using the CBP-1 app, it doesn't mean that there's some vetting and it's a little bit more secure. No, it's just another avenue by which for people to come in through that app, as opposed to crossing the border illegally, to kind of fabricate lower border crossing counts. You get what I'm saying? That's really all that was. That's really all that was. So that way they can keep the numbers a little bit lower, or at least try to, as it pertains to, illegal immigrants crossing the border illegally, so that technically they wouldn't be put in that category. It's really, it's game. It's game by the Biden administration. It's game, but they're not vetting anybody through that app the same way no one's being vetted when they cross the border illegally. There's hardly any vetting done with the app. So it doesn't surprise me that gang members get in so easily and frequently, sources told the Post. Now I want to come back up to this portion here as we round this article out and head into the next one. Within hours of their entry into the U.S., the siblings were released and believed to be en route to New York, where they told federal authorities they would be headed. But the brothers were instead turned up, but the brothers instead turned up in the sanctuary city of Aurora. Now, the New York Post has that wrong because, as I stated earlier, Aurora is not a sanctuary city, as you can see here. And once again, all the links to everything that I'm reading is in the article is in the description box down below. But as you can see here, this article was written February 27th of 2024. Aurora's city government wants to make clear that it has no plans to take in or provide services for an influx of migrants coming into the city from other municipalities, according to a resolution that the city council passed on Monday night. The resolution, which also included people who are homeless getting transported to Aurora from other cities, passed on a 7-3 vote. What they're establishing here and what they're admitting here is that you have folks just getting dropped off in Aurora. That's what was happening. As it pertains to these guys coming initially getting sent to Denver and then ending up in Aurora, buses are just dropping them off there, as well as other homeless, as you can see here that they're stating here. So this isn't something that Aurora originally agreed to. And then they passed a resolution saying, look, we are not a sanctuary city. Stop dropping these people off here. But mind you, that is not what Greg Abbott was doing. Greg Abbott was sending these so-called migrants, illegal immigrants, to Denver, but they were being sent to Denver because that's where they wanted to go. Okay. Upon arriving into Denver, what Denver is, in my opinion, what I assume is secretly, but not so secretly, busing these illegal immigrants into other cities like Aurora. And now here we are with the problem that Aurora is currently faced with, all right, concerning them not being a sanctuary city, but having these people bus to their cities anyway. And now you have a Tren de Aragua problem in Aurora, Colorado. But here's the thing here in closing, because like I said, I told you this was going to be quick because it's too hot outside for me to be streaming right now. Aurora mayor changes messaging again on whether a Venezuelan gang is controlling apartment complexes. This is why I say the city of Aurora is a confused city. They don't know if they're going left or they're going right. They don't know if they're going up or if they're going down. Okay. They just don't know. They just don't know. Let's get into this right here. Claims about Venezuelan gang activity. And also too, just so you guys know, this comes from where does it say it? 9 News, right? 9 News in Denver. 9 News is 100% a DNC local news outlet. Most news outlets in general are actually very balanced, as quiet as it's kept. Most local news outlets are extremely balanced. They're very balanced. News 9 isn't one of them. News 9 isn't one of them. It's DNC all the way. Okay, but let's get into it. Claims about Venezuelan gang activity in Aurora have included conflicting statements from the city's mayor, Mike Kaufman. On Friday, Kaufman went back to saying he agrees with police that there hasn't been an apartment complex takeover. Once again, this is the Aurora PD that has gone through five police chiefs in a matter of 2 years, which is completely insane. On July 29th, conservative councilwoman Danielle Jernsky wrote on Facebook about a large gathering at a shopping center parking lot. Venezuelan flags were flying among thousands who took over and completely shut down that part of our city, she wrote. 2 days later, on July 31st, Mayor Kaufman shared a similar thought on talk radio. And this is a quote from the mayor at the time. If you know Aurora, then what you know is that we have areas in our city, unfortunately, that have been taken. and we have to take them back, he said on the Dan Caplis show. A week after that interview, a property owner of the troubled apartment complexes in Aurora made public claims that Tren de Aragua took over their buildings. APD and city leaders were warned on August 9th about problems at one of those properties, Whispering Pines. In a 10-part report, a law firm representing the lender holding the mortgage said it appeared the Venezuelan gang had forcibly taken over the property. They wrote, oh, okay. They wrote issues with Tren de Aragua began in late 2023. The report claimed gang members violently broke into the empty units, tried to extort tenants for rent money, and severely beat a staff member in November of last year. 1 month after receiving the law firm's 10-page report, Mayor Kaufman shared a different opinion. On Friday, he wrote on Facebook he now agrees with Aurora PD's interim chief that a Venezuelan gang is not in control of either of these two apartment complexes. Now, give me a moment. I'm starting to fumble a little bit because, like I said, it's hot. I need to wipe myself down. Okay. I need to wipe myself down because it's burning up in here. But we are about to finish this stream. Trust you me, because I ain't got time to tarry. I want to get into what he had to say. I want to get into this post here that the mayor put up, right? So this is what he stated. Update on the Dallas and Helena Street apartment complexes. On Wednesday evening, I met with tenants from both apartment complexes off-site to listen to their concerns after walking through the property on Dallas Street earlier in the day and on Helena Street earlier this week. At both properties, I walked through every single floor and had an opportunity to talk to the tenants. I certainly believe that there were Venezuelan gang-related problems, as previously reported, that caused the property managers to flee. And I appreciate the work of the Aurora PD in making multiple arrests related to Venezuelan gang activities. In my visit to both apartment complexes this week and my subsequent offsite meeting with the tenants, I learned that the tenants, after the property managers left and routine maintenance and services were no longer provided, simply stopped paying rent to the owner and are not paying it to anyone else. So they're trying to establish now that apparently they're not being extorted. They're just not paying rent, period, because the apartment complexes were not being kept up with regular maintenance. They want to stay in their apartments and are worried that the apartment complexes will be shut down and they will be forced to leave. At this time, I agree with Interim Chief Heather Morris's current assessment that a Venezuelan gang is not in control of either of the two apartment complexes. Jason Batchelor, the city manager, in a meeting yesterday with representatives for the property owner, offered to place 2 APD officers for 2 weeks at each apartment complex if the owner is willing to provide on-site property managers. Mr. Batchelor is still waiting for a response. And we'll just leave it there. I don't need to read that last paragraph because there isn't much going on as far as that's concerned. I'm going to say this in closing, right? As it pertains to now the mayor changing his tune. I've seen some people kind of want to make excuses for him. You know, he's a Republican mayor in a DNC hotbed and stuff like that, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. Look, the mayor came out and said this was an issue. City councilwoman came out and said this was an issue. Former tenants came out and said this was an issue. The property manager came out and said this was an issue. The property lenders, right? The bank holding the loan said that this was an issue. Then video surfaced showing that all these claims were true, that this was an issue as it pertains to Tren de Aragua taking over these apartment complexes. We saw the video evidence of them knocking on doors, holding on to whatever those type of guns were, AR-15s. I'm not a gun guy, but they were huge, long guns like AR-15, something like that, with a bunch of multiple other gang members holding on to like other handguns and whatnot while they're knocking on people's doors. We've seen other videos showing them with their firearms in their hand, knocking off door handles, attempting to break into empty units. So once again, everything has been substantiated by video. We saw this. We heard the complaints, and then we saw the evidence with our own eyes. If the mayor now wants to play games and say there's nothing to see here, folks, then guess what? There's nothing to see here. It's that simple. Aurora is a very confused city. Once again, they don't know if they're going left or right. They don't know if they're going up or down. They cooperate with ICE one day. The next day, they don't want to cooperate with ICE. Okay? They've gone through 5 police chiefs in a 2-year period. Okay? They've done this in 2 years. So essentially, what I'm saying here is let Aurora wallow in its own feces. If that's what they want to do, if Aurora wants to wallow in its own feces, let them do that. Okay? Because as far as I'm concerned,
Well, see everything else. I don't care about none of that. I ain't got time to tarry.
I don't have time to tarry. I really have zero time to tarry. Now, I'm still going to cover this stuff because I think that the news is important, that it should be put out there so that other cities and other communities can do what they have to do to protect themselves, particularly as it pertains to taking seriously local elections in their local governing body. You get what I'm saying? Because regardless of who's in power on the national level, if locally your local governing body is on point, doing the things that they need to do and doing the things that you're supposed to do, then this stuff isn't a problem. So I am going to still cover this stuff. But as far as my personal feeling towards what's happening in Aurora right now,
See everything else. I don't care about none of that. I ain't got time to tarry.
man, I don't care about none of that. I ain't got time to tarry. Y'all want to not, honor ICE detainers, and you want to let these guys go, and you want to flip flop like Kamala Harris as it pertains to the mayor of Aurora. You're saying one thing one day, and then the next day you're saying something else, and then you keep going back and forth. Hey, man, let them wallow in their own feces if that's what they want to do. Okay, if that's what they want to do. Once again, in closing,
See everything else. I don't care about none of that. I ain't got time to tarry.
I ain't got time to tarry with y'all in Aurora. So with all that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. All right. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also, please don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble. Okay, both the Telegram and Rumble links are in the description box below. That is extremely important. Please follow me on Telegram and Rumble at TD Media Group. Shout out to those of you who are watching on Twitter. If you haven't migrated over to the main channel, TD Media Group, please do that so you can participate in the lively live chat. And I will catch you guys very soon when it cools off out here, okay? Because it's too hot for me to be streaming. So I'll get you guys later, man. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you for joining me and have a great afternoon. Peace.